look at the fashion of rappers in this country. They're fucking corny as shit.
Why do you hate UK rappers so much, bro?
Alright, so welcome to another episode of Jump Off TV UK's Behind the Sea debate show. We're joined by obviously Teeth, Snips, Chucky, Lala, and we've got two guests with us today. We've got Merkage and Marina. Today we're going to be asking what type of artists devalue brands. So let's chuck it over to the guys right now and see what they have to say. What type of artists do you guys think devalue brands, or do you think rap devalues brands?
Are we talking about artists, or are we talking about people who like quote unquote represent, I don't hate the word, but chav culture? Because no, that's a very different thing.
It's everything.
Let's bring it back to artists.
All these people that we're talking about are people who represent tabloid culture, the modern celebrity, the adoration of fools, people that don't have any ability, just being idiots on television. I understand if a brand doesn't want to be associated with that kind of person because they are a waste of resources.
But the thing is, it's not as tactical as that. I think you can blow up and make it a lot wider, because brand partnership is all about putting together a brand as in an artist and a brand as in a commercial brand, and aligning their identities and their values. And it's not about, you know, ethnicity, it's not about snobbery, it's not about anything. It's just making sure that those things are in alignment. So for example, Trapstar wouldn't give a jacket to like Louis Walsh to wear an X Factor.
Yeah, but if Louis Walsh
that's not about snobbery, and it's not about class, it's not about race. It's just about him not representing where the sun's trying to go.
What you're saying, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but just to carry on with what you're saying. Kanye West, Louis Vuitton worked with Kanye West. They have no issue with Kanye West being an ambassador for the brand, but do you think Louis Vuitton want Chief Keef, Louis?
Definitely not.
No, definitely not.
So it's not an ethnicity thing. It's you're completely right.
It's
about.
You're tripping if you think there ain't racism involved in that shit.
Look, I know what a brand is, and I know why it's needed in the market, because like brands, it's basically the things you associate with a certain brand, the things you think of when a brand comes to mind, the thing you want to aspire to, the thing that you think is needed for a particular kind of, I don't know, perception you're trying to give. So I understand how they kind of play a part in this whole kind of capitalism society, but for me it's a dirty game, because again, it's based on perception. And when you're kind of like paying $300 or pounds for a fucking pair of jeans that cost less than £5 to make by an underpaid kid and shit, I don't like to get too into it, man. So it's like, hey, I'll wear the kind of shit I wear for like 5 to 10 years straight, and look, these are jeans I've had for fucking about 10 years, and I've just cut them because, you know, it's woman shit.
They have to have, everybody, if you're making a product, you have a specific market that you want to aim it to. Every business, from the lowest to the highest, does that.
Do you know, if it was me, I would separate my brand, like Ralph Lauren. So he has the top end, then he has Polo Sport, and then he has whatever. There's different levels for different people that want to buy.
You know why you gotta love Ralph? Because Ralph embraced when hip hop started wearing his brand. He's one of the few that actually embraced it. Hill Figure like turned his nose up. Ralph truly embraced when.
You know, there was still fucking Hill Figure ads in Source magazine.
Half of these men that are wearing some of these high-end stuff, it's not even so much in the fact that they're really into it. It's just that they want to be cool and they've got the money to buy it, so they go out and
honest,
do it.
If I started a clothing brand tomorrow, I wouldn't want rappers wearing it. Why? Because bruv, look at the fashion of rappers in this country. They're fucking corny as shit.
Why do you hate UK rappers so much, bro?
Seriously, bro. Look. I'll tell you something, yeah. Rappers in this country fucked up True Religion. They fucked up Gucci. They fucked up Louis. They're now fucking up Hermes. Like, rappers do have a tendency to fuck up high-end brands and make it not cool.
It is kind of deep. So like,
because you know what it is, and it's not because of who's wearing it. It's because of the overkill. If you want to wear Louis, fine. Don't wear a Louis belt. Match with a Louis scarf. Match with the Louis monogram hat with the Louis kicks. That's how you fuck up a brand. It's not about who's wearing it. It's about the way in which people like absorb it. And the problem with rappers, especially, is they go all out. I think if a brand is smart, they can use a rapper to help push their brand. But you have to understand what makes something cool is a very small amount of people that basically influence another mass amount. And I think what happens is, if you haven't attacked that small amount of people to keep the followers following, your brand doesn't gain longevity. Rappers generally aren't within that cool amount of the 5%. So I think when you see a rapper embrace something, a lot of the time their followers are going to be the first to just overindulge in it and basically kill any amount of coolness.
Okay, let's talk about the Ed Hardy thing, right? Okay?
Oh.
Wait. No, hear me out, right? So Skepta was endorsing that thing. He was backing it,
yeah, he really was.
And they just kind of parred it, basically, didn't they? Right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Right? They gave the role to Peter Andre, bruv.
Yeah.
What does that say?
That's crazy.
What does that say? Is
I
Peter
find it hard
Andre?
to believe that anybody wanted to back Ed Hardy. That shit was disgusting.
I know, but
I fucked with it.
Really?
I fucked with it.
I didn't fuck with Ed
I
Hardy.
would never tell anyone. I got given Ed Hardy and I refused to wear it.
But what does that say though? What does that say? That they because Skepta for me, Skepta is someone who can relate to the youth better than Peter. Like he's less famous, but it's like but is Peter Andre cool?
No.
So what is it about?
It depends what the target audience is. It depends what your audience for that brand is.
I think that if a certain rapper is oversaturating a brand and killing it to the most possible extent that they ever could, then that brand is getting devalued by a rapper. So my answer to that question would be yes. However, you've got artists and music artists out there who take brands and uplift them to the most possible extent that they can. Jay-Z being an anomaly, I know, but he's one evident example. Soulja Boy, 2009, came out of a track called Gucci Bandana. Ever since then, Gucci's dead. Drake came out of a track called Versace with Amigos, and now Versace's probably going to be dead as well.
There is a social element to it, because let's say Supreme, yeah? Let's say that David Cameron came out rocking a Supreme hat. That would be a good thing for them, even if it's a funny thing.
Yeah, you know why?
It's a funny. It would.
No. I think it would. I think it would. Okay, wait. You say it would. You lot say it wouldn't. Why do you think it wouldn't?
Because, like you just said, it's not part of their brand ethos. It's not part of their.
Okay, cool. All right. Example. All right, cool. Example. Dench by Lethal B. When Dame Judi Dench wore that, his figures for Dench clothing went up so high. Obviously, Dame Judi Dench isn't the audience for that clothing line.
That's because it's Dame Judi Dench.
Her name's Dench, and it was all quite charming and a very cute.
No, I still think it's the same thing.
No, it's not, because she's not the leader of this country fucking up the country. The people that buy Dench are the same people that he's fucking over right now. So if he was to wear Dench, it wouldn't work. You know, brands have to protect their brand identity if they have a certain group of people kind of wearing it and actually taking the piss with it, and that's what happened in that respect there.
Are we saying that rappers devalue brands?
No, I think so.
I don't agree.
I can name 10 partnerships off the top
but
of
not
my
all
head.
the time. Not all the time.
10 rappers.
10 partnerships between a brand and a rapper.
You name 3.
I can name 10. Jay-Z and Samsung, Alexander Wang and ASAP Rocky, Wretch and Adidas, Reebok and Labyrinth, Pro Green and Puma, Tiny and Nike.
What kind of whip that?
I can keep going. I think rappers can bring a lot of value to a brand, especially if it's a brand that's got a specific target audience of young and influenced by the urban culture. So if you're talking about your Nikes and your Adidas and your Reebok and your Pumas and your sportswear brands and your streetwear brands, they can see a very lucrative effect by partnering with a rapper.
Saying they're on the same level.
Sometimes luxury brands encourage it. Like look at Mercedes.
Yeah.
They openly say.
And they had Kano in their campaign or whatever.
Yeah, but even like they've been asked on several occasions, because there was a whole thing with Cristal, they asked them about it and Jay-Z took offence. But with Mercedes,
they openly said we don't want any rappers.
I'd be very interested to see.
He was like, well, if you lot, then I'll make my own drink.
I'd be very interested to see what the change in revenue is when he switched to Ace.
But this is another thing. Can a brand like Cristal afford to publicly say, we don't want X, Y, and Z drinking from our drinks?
No, they thought they could.
But have they suffered? Have you heard about their sales declining? I haven't heard about their sales declining. Remember, they again, they're another brand that cater to another specific market. I'm talking about people who can just throw away money. We're talking about oil money. We're talking about old money. We're talking about people who are rolling like Scrooge McDuck money.
The problem is
people in hip hop get so like in the little hip hop world we have so much importance on ourselves, and we think our little world and our little culture has so much fucking relevance and pull over these things. They don't. It's just a small amount. It's such a fucking small amount.
The first thing I want to say on this thing is, I don't know if you noticed there, but Lala and Snips actually agreed on something, and they don't even love each other. So that is just, I just thought that was great. Do you know what? In fact, I might even just leave it as that, because the reality is, yeah, okay, you got some rappers that do great partnerships and all of these type of things and it works for them or whatever, and then you got some other rappers that just, you know, might wear some stuff and go head to toe and absolutely just ruin it because everybody then starts to jump on it and copy the same thing. But I think that is totally irrelevant. All that matters in this whole debate, really and truly, Lala and Snips actually agreed with each other.
Can we pose another question, yeah? What we're establishing here is these brands, these high-end brands, a lot of them don't really want rappers wearing their clothes.
I don't
really. So why, as a hip-hop community, do people continually put money in the pockets of these
people are
fucking
fools, people idiots, people are copycats.
Louis doesn't want you wearing their shit.
Again, it's all down to aspiration. It's all down to try and get something that your peers don't have.
And that's what the brand's about.
And the thing is, and we're not just talking about high brands, we're talking about all brands. We're talking about technology, we're talking about food and drink, we're talking about clothing, high-end, couture, high street, everything.
And that's why I rate Jay-Z.
And the reason,
because Jay-Z,
he's one in a million, man.
Because what he's done is he's taken, like Jay-Z has always sold his lifestyle, but what he's done is he's created brands for himself and profited from them directly.
He is a brand.
An example of that. I think he's the top selling rapper from Ciroc.
Did he?
Yeah, Ciroc.
Did he 100% reposition Ciroc single-handedly?
But that's
him
interesting.
and Bad Boy.
But the thing is, that's interesting that he gets he was approached by Ciroc to be an ambassador for a certain amount of money.
Well, like the owning distribution, like the owning distillery of
It just got me thinking, like, what's real, what's not, what is a brand, what is it? It's the smoke and mirrors, isn't it? It's just positioning, you know, so you can sell a piece of material, isn't it? Really?
Does anyone wear like G-Unit and like we wear? Does anyone still rock that?
What about Averex and Academics? What about back then? But do you think all these UK rappers, when they used to batter that back in the day, do you think they were sitting there being like, oh, what's happening to our brand, man? It's being tarnished.
Academics was a brand that was specifically targeted for there was a lot of like urban brands that were made by people from the hip hop world who targeted the hip hop world. So I don't think Academics ever had an issue with rappers wearing their brand because that's who was targeted. Averex, slightly different story, but Academics, Rockaware, Anichi, all those brands. That's what they.
Spliffy.
Yo, what's going on? It's me, Chucky Online, aka the Black Tony Montana, aka Mr. David Hasselhoff, aka the 6'2" wonder. And I'm saying right now, you should subscribe to us right now because then you'll see all the debates and stuff. And obviously, like, it's mad because I'm a lot taller than everybody else and that. So, bruv, you just take the fucking piss, bro. Swear down every time, bro. Bro, it takes me for a dickhead.
Dizzy's not a spitter.
Nah, Dizzy's a spitter. No, bro. Dizzy's a spitter. No. Dizzy's a spitter. Bro, you can't say Dizzy's not a spitter.